All right, hopefully this is working. Yay! Hey guys! I sure hope you can see me. I hope you can see me and hear me. Let me know if you're watching this, if you can hear me. All right. Hopefully we get some people here. I have a ton of stuff to talk about, so I'm really excited. And I just need some confirmation that someone can hear me. All right. I think someone's watching. Let's see who's on. This is my first time streaming on YouTube, so I'm trying to figure this out. If you guys are here, please post a comment so I can see who's watching and I can figure out if you guys can hear me. Please let me know. Loud and clear, yay! Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much. When I said I was going to do YouTube Live for the first time, instead of doing Instagram Live, I thought it was going to be like Instagram where you press a button and you're live. But instead, I've spent about the past 2 hours trying to get this going, and there's a lot involved. So I'm really just glad that it's working. So I've got my handy dandy notebook here, and I am going to tell you guys all about, I'm going to tell you all about Raw Food June, but also I got a ton of questions. So I'm really, really excited. I think I have like about 7 or 8 saved questions that you guys sent me in advance. And obviously I am going to be answering everything that you guys put in the chat as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So thank you for joining me on a Friday night. I know for me, I normally publish on a Friday, so I was all like, yay, I can actually interact with you guys. But probably some of you were like, hey, I'm busy on Friday night. I have a life. Okay, so I want to tell you first what this is all about. Raw Food June is a little raw food challenge that I started back in 2014. And I think I missed 1 year in there, so I'm calling this my 5th annual Raw Food June. And pretty much it's a way for us all to celebrate summer and try 30 days of raw food and do it together. When I started this challenge, 30 days was really hard for me. I hadn't done it before, so it was a way to kind of have some accountability and also to do it with other people. And now I've been mostly raw for, I want to say like a year. I think I've kind of been going strong since last Raw Food June in 2018. So I'm really excited for this year. I think it's going to be different experience. It's different every year, but for me, it's going to be different than it's been in previous years for sure. And I am doing a bunch more stuff this year than I've done previously. So if you guys want to follow along, here's how you participate. If you're on Instagram, you can just use the hashtag #RawFoodJune, and then I will be able to see and like and comment on all of your posts of what you're eating. And I'm going to be posting daily food journals. Everything I'm eating every single day, I'm going to post to Instagram, and that will also be under the hashtag. So that's how I'm participating. And I know some people are doing 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. My friend British has been doing this since the beginning with me. And I think this year she's doing 2 raw meals a day. So she doesn't want to do all 3. But whatever is going to work for you is how you can participate. Let me look at my notes. Oh yeah, and I'm also going to have a ton of really cool YouTube content that I've been working on for like 2 months. I'm really hoping that you guys are going to like it. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm going to have a series that comes out on my normal Tuesday publishing date, and I'm going to talk all about how to get started with raw food. There's going to be a whole video on detox and cravings. I'm going to have a snack guide. There's going to be more recipes. I'm going to talk about sprouting. I'm going to talk about microgreens, dehydrated food, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you aren't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe so you can join us. and I'm gonna have special content all month long here on YouTube. Probably twice a week on my normal scheduled days, just because I do work full time. So this is my passion project on the side, and I just don't think I can do more than 2 videos a week. But if it happens and I can make it 3 videos, then I will. So we'll have to see how that goes. Hey everyone who joined. I'm just talking about what we're doing this month with the challenge and all the stuff that's going to be coming to YouTube and Instagram as part of it in June. Any questions yet? If you guys have questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. And I do have a bunch that you gave me in advance that I'm going to read off in a little minute and answer. But if you want to tell me anything or ask a question now, I'll add it to the list. Let's see if you guys are saying anything. Awesome. Yeah, this is a really cool setup. I've never done this before, so I'll have to do more YouTube lives if you guys like this. Okay, so I have a few different ways that you guys sent me questions. Some people wanted to be anonymous, and those were in private messages, so I'm not going to read names. For everything else, I'm going to assume that people wanted their name read, so I'm going to do private comments first, YouTube questions, questions from my Instagram story post, and then I have more Instagram questions. So I'm going to go ahead and answer those, and as you guys ask questions here, I will also answer those as well. And we'll see how long we can stay on for. I'm kind of aiming for half an hour. If we get a really good discussion going, then we'll just keep going. Okay. All right, so the first question that I have here is from someone who wanted to remain anonymous, and I'm kind of paraphrasing because it was like a paragraph, but the question was, are you still losing weight? And I think that the short answer to this is yes, but I haven't talked about it a lot on my YouTube channel because, as you guys know, my channel is not weight loss focused. My journey is not weight loss focused. If I lose weight, it's kind of a bonus. I'm focused on feeling my best and healing from disease and healing chronic illness. So that is what I'm focused on. And my AC just kicked in. It's about 80 degrees in my house right now, and I am burning up. So I apologize for the background noise, but I absolutely had to turn on my AC, so it's about to get loud. So yeah, I am losing weight. I think my last update that I gave you guys on weight was in January. And you know, weight loss is not a linear thing. So it kind of went up in February and March. It kind of plateaued in April. I've been losing in May. I think June is going to be awesome. And I find that pattern is really typical for me because where I live, like January, February, March are the worst months of winter, and you kind of hibernate. So I tend to have a lot of, not weight gain, but stagnation then, and desire to eat cooked, comforting foods occasionally. And I had a lot of slip-ups in those wintry months. Not so much in January, but in February and March for sure. So I am coming up on another big kind of weight loss, I guess you could call it, milestone. So if I feel like it, I will share that with you guys when I get there. If not, I will just occasionally give you updates. But I try really hard not to make this a weight loss channel. I think anytime you focus on weight loss instead of your health, you're missing kind of the big picture. And there are times where your weight going up might be good or your weight going down might be good, but weight itself is not a true indicator of health. And we know that because we know people who are skinny looking and they've had heart attacks. It's not the whole picture. So I don't focus on weight. To me, weight is a byproduct of my health. And I try to focus on just feeling good and letting the weight loss happen. And of course, you guys know that weight loss takes, true weight loss where it's going to stay off and it's going to be maintainable, takes a really long time. And no one really wants to hear that, right? They want to know, how can I lose 20 pounds this month? That would probably be unhealthy. So I have a lot of weight that I've been releasing, and I will probably have more over time, probably throughout this year and probably more next year. I'm just going to let it be slow because that's how your body adjusts over time, and it will stick versus you losing and gaining, losing and gaining. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Ooh, we have a good one in the chat from Cynthia. how fast did your panic attacks and anxiety go away after starting raw food? Wow, that is such a good question. There's so many ways I want to answer this. So I think the first thing is they didn't go away overnight like that. It definitely was gradual, because even while the symptoms started going away really fast once I changed my diet, it takes a while for your mind to catch up and say, hey, that's not happening anymore, right? So you almost still have a fear of getting a panic attack or a fear of anxiety. So you have to take also a mental approach. You can't just switch to raw food and hope it goes away on its own. So I promise I will do a whole video about this, but I also have been meditating every single day, sometimes twice a day. And I did a program called DARE program by Barry McDonough. If you have panic attacks, that will save your life. That book, it's a book on Amazon, is so good. And I read that, I think I've read it twice, or I read it once all the way through, and I go back and I look at my notes, so kind of twice. And I've been doing that program. So initially when I did like a medical medium approach in January of 2018 up until June 2018. And then of course I've continued with those because I just pretty much went raw the rest of the year. And now I've been raw for about a year. The initial symptoms started going away before I went raw. But I started adding green juice every day, celery juice and cucumber juice. And I cut out gluten, soy, canola, MSG. I cut out a bunch of stuff, nooch, which is nutritional yeast. And it started to go away first then. So it was gradual and pretty immediate effects, but then you have to kind of do the mental work to realize like, hey, it's going away, time to start pushing your boundaries and testing things out. So I hadn't flown in 2 years. Flying was my biggest trigger, and I flew last week for work, so I finally have conquered that last mountain. So it's definitely a gradual process, but you can heal, and I hope that's helpful. Oh my gosh, Adriana's here. Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you. I love it. Thank you, girl. Awesome. So let's see what the next question was. I have so many from you guys. This was also an anonymous question, and I've gotten a few of these on YouTube, and you guys are just too nice. I love it. Are you going to have a recipe book soon? I would buy one from you. That's really sweet. I actually just started writing my first book, but as I mentioned, I work full time. I work like 50 hours a week. I do this as my passion project. It's my creative outlet on the side. So I'm already producing 2 videos a week, which is taking up like all my free time. I am going to give myself at least a year to write this book. So yes, a book will come, but I apologize. It is probably going to take me a solid year. I have so many recipes I've written. I've written hundreds of recipes. So I'm not going to run out of content for the channel ever. And I will definitely have plenty to put in a book, but I want it to be more than a recipe book. I want to really help people get started on their healing journey and using food as a part of that, mostly raw food. So I'm putting a little bit more research into it. So I am writing a book, but it will probably take me a year, so you will have to wait. Sorry about that. All right, the next questions that I had, and you guys can keep asking in the chat. I will check the chat and see if I'm missing anything. Let's see. Aw, thank you. You guys are awesome. I really love this community. It's so great. You guys are what keep me going all the time. I get a lot of questions about like, how do you keep going? Because I think in July will be officially a year since I started this channel. And my first video, I actually started filming months before that. So I think I started filming in May. So it's been over a year since I've been doing 2 videos a week. And it's really just how awesome your comments are and how awesome it is to hear that when you guys make something and post a picture, it like literally makes my day. I love it so much. And then I just feel motivated to keep going. Oh my goodness. I think a year will fly by for me. Hopefully everyone doesn't get bored waiting, but I want to make sure it's right. And I currently don't have, like, the reason I never film any recipes in my kitchen is my kitchen is like a micro kitchen, and it's dark and it's just you can't film in there. So I'm trying to find the best way to photograph recipes. And I've always found it easier to film instead of photograph, which you can probably tell from the quality of pictures on my blog. I know they need to be better, but I need to work on that in order to really make the book awesome. So I've got to do some research and I've got to improve my photography skills. Okay, the next question was ones that you guys gave me on the YouTube video I posted last week. So One Love 201, that's a really cute name, asks, what should a breastfeeding mom look out for while doing this? This is a really good question. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of misinformation about what to do when you're pregnant or breastfeeding. There's a lot of extra concerns that you have, and this is not something that I can speak to from experience. I don't have children, so I would say the best thing to do is to look at people who've done it successfully and maybe engage with them. I'm trying to think of who would be a good person. I would look at Ellen Fisher. She's on Instagram at Ellen Fisher, and the same name on YouTube, and she has raised 3 gorgeous children and done it, I think she's 100% raw still, or mostly raw, and done, home births and breastfeeding. So if you are a breastfeeding mom, I would check her out so you can get her opinion. And I know she's made videos specifically about breastfeeding, so that'll be helpful. The other thing I would do is if you're eating enough greens and enough berries, you're going to get your RDA values in. But if you're concerned, you can use a tracker and track what you're eating. Things like B12, you're not going to get anyway, so make sure you're taking that. And things like vitamin D, depending on where you live. But what I always say is get testing. So work with your doctor and make sure that if you think you're low in vitamin D, go in, ask for a vitamin D test and see if you actually are, and then ask them if it's okay to supplement. So I know a lot of people in the raw vegan community don't love talking about traditional medicine, not even traditional medicine, Western medicine. But I think it's really important to work with your doctor, and if you need the testing, get it done and then use your own judgment about it. So that's what I do when I need to know something. So I don't have experience with breastfeeding, so I can't speak to it directly, but I would say check out Ellen Fisher, work with your doctor, make sure that they think you're covered. I know a general recommendation for if you're feeding a baby, whether you're pregnant or breastfeeding, is to add roughly an additional 300 calories to your day, and that's about, an extra 2 bananas and a date to your smoothie in the morning or something. So you might want to look at, are you getting enough calories? And the last thing I'll leave you with on that topic is to also check out nutritionfacts.org, which is run by Dr. Greger, and it is an evidence-based nutrition website where they talk about plant-based diets specifically. So he doesn't talk a lot about raw food, but if you put in breastfeeding in the search on that site, nutritionfacts.org, you are going to find all kinds of stuff. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions here? Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Awesome. Okay. The next one is from Teach Me to Style. And she said, if we join, will you provide a weekly shopping list? That is an awesome question. I actually hadn't thought of that. So I don't know if I'll do it this year, but I will add that to my list. And if it's possible, then I'll do that next year. The other thing is my first video of Raw Food June, my content I've been working on for 2 months, comes out this Tuesday, and it's about getting started with raw food. And I was going to include what I would do is a sample meal plan. So I know meal plans and shopping lists are a little bit different. I think the reason I hadn't thought of doing a shopping list is everyone makes shopping lists really differently. So I don't know if you guys would find it helpful to see my process. I guess leave a comment on this video and let me know if that's helpful to you. But my thought is to give you some sample, what I would eat over a few days, and then you could take those things and turn it into a grocery list. So I will try to address that more in the future. I don't currently have a shopping list you can print out or anything. So I guess I will put that on the Raw Food June 2020 list. But thank you for asking. All right. Next, I have a bunch of questions that you guys asked on my story Q&As on Instagram, because I asked you guys for more questions over there. And I think it's okay for me to use everyone's ID and say who they are. So hopefully that's the case. Let's see. Okay, I have a few questions from Pure Earth Kate. Hi, Kate. Oh my goodness, I love that name. That's really pretty. And she has a few questions. So the first one is, does cooked food make you feel uncomfortable and heavier in your gut versus raw food? This one is a really good question. So the short answer is yes. To me specifically, and I think most people would agree, cooked food feels heavier in the gut. Sometimes that is an uncomfortable feeling, especially because you can eat more volume of raw food without feeling that super full feeling. And if you eat cooked food, you get that a lot faster. So if you're trying to match your volume of food, you're going to feel really uncomfortable. And the other side of that, though, is that I come from a background of I'm a volume eater. I like to eat as much volume as I can. And that's what's gotten me into trouble in the past with cooked vegan foods, especially vegan junk food, is sometimes people like that heavy, full feeling because it has an emotional numbing effect. So sometimes we go to cooked foods, or not even just cooked foods, but junk food like pizzas and burgers and processed things, because we want to numb out, right? We want that comfort so that we can feel better, and sometimes we're willing to be a little uncomfortable afterwards if we get that, numbing effect. So I know on my journey with changing what I eat, it's actually one of the harder things for me going to raw food is that I don't have a numbing effect with raw food, right? I don't have that heavy, full feeling that sometimes I want. Maybe, I think for some people they're like, ooh, I don't want that. But I definitely used to like that feeling. And I don't get that with raw food. I don't remember who said it, but someone had a really great quote that said, when you eat raw, you cannot hide from your emotions. And I think that is really true. And I'm going to talk about it more in the video that I'm doing on detox, but there's definitely an emotional detox for me with raw food. And it's a really good thing. It's a really, really healing thing, but sometimes I want to avoid it. And you can't avoid it with raw food. So I think that kind of has two different sides to it, but I would agree that cooked food is definitely heavier. It can make you uncomfortable in your gut. For sure now, I will occasionally decide I'm going to eat something cooked, and I've been raw for quite a while, and then I will notice totally how my gut feels. And in the past, where maybe I was switching back and forth a lot, I didn't notice that. So I think as you clean up your diet more and more, that will become more apparent to you. And it's good. I think Rick and Karen, Dr. Rick and Dr. Karen Dina, who run the Raw Food Mastery Summit, say they like to eat cooked food occasionally because it reminds them why they eat raw food. So I thought that was a really funny quote. And I love them. They're really smart. So that's another resource if you guys want to see doctors who have multiple degrees, who have studied the effects of raw food and are themselves both raw foodists. I would check out Dr. Rick and Dr. Karen Dina. They're awesome. All right, let's see. Any questions? Okay. I know I talk really fast, so if I'm blasting through this, just let me know. So the next one is also from Pure Earth Kate. How do you know if you're eating enough? This is a really, really good question. So for someone like me, who in the past was maybe an overeater, I like huge volumes of food, coming to raw food means I generally easily, slowly lose weight and find like a really good, weight for myself. I kind of stabilize. But for a lot of people if they weren't a volume eater, if they were used to eating small portions, you have to eat more volume to get the same amount of calories in on raw food. And that's just because of calorie density, right? Vegetables and fruits are the lowest calorie density of all the foods. So if you're trying to get all your calories from those, you have to eat a lot more, which is good because they're the highest nutrient food. And we want a high nutrient diet. So it's actually a good thing, but it can be tricky if you don't like to eat, you're not going to sit down with a bowl filled with mangoes and bananas, you're only get halfway through it and not finish your meal, that's when I would kind of recommend to try smoothies. You can put a little bit more in smoothies. So if you're having trouble getting all of your meals in, maybe try out smoothies for a little bit. You can also do a savory blended soup if you're not into a sweet smoothie, so that you make sure you're getting what you need. I think any diet, any way of eating where you have to count calories every day and track everything you're eating in a tracker is not a sustainable way of living, right? At some point, you're not going to want to do that and you'll fall off the wagon. So this is the only way I found where I can eat what I want to eat and I don't have a calorie tracker. I don't have to fastidiously write down everything that goes in my mouth. I can just know these are the foods I eat and eat as much as I want of them. But if you're someone who finds that you're underweight or you don't know if you're getting enough, so you're tired all the time, that's a good sign that you're not eating enough. If you're tired all the time, you have a lot of cravings, more than usual. And if you wake up super hungry, that means you didn't eat enough the day before. So those are 3 signs that you need to eat more. If it helps you in the beginning to use a tracker to make sure you're getting enough calories, you could do that on a trial basis, but I just don't want anyone to become obsessive with that, especially if you come from a eating disorder. So you might want to think about like what's going to be sufficient for you and make sure that you're not aiming for a super low amount of calories either. And maybe I'll include some tips on calories in a different video, but I start with 2,000 and see how that works for you. If you work out a lot, you might need more. If you're a small person, you might need less, but don't try to do this diet and eat like 12,000 calories a day. That's just not enough. So yeah, look at the volume of what you're eating. If you need to in the beginning, track your calories just to know that you're okay. You can try that, but I think if you try smoothies, that will probably help you out. So there you go. I hope that helped. Whew, I'm talking so fast, guys. I get very excited about this. I just wish you guys could talk back. This would be even more fun if I could hear you. All right. So the next question comes from Or212, and she asks, will going raw vegan make me grow pimples? Because I've heard it does at first. And that is a really, really good question. So in my experience, it does not. I will say the caveat to that is it depends on what your skin is like before you go raw vegan. So if you are someone prone to acne issues who has a lot of pimples before going raw vegan, it will take a while for your skin to heal. And you have to keep in mind, when you go raw, your body is going to be able to do more of its detoxing function, right? Food is not actually detoxing you, your body detoxes itself, but when you eat a healthy diet, you enable your body to do that better. So your body is going to be detoxing more, and it's going to start healing itself. And it might prioritize differently, right? So if you have a chronic illness, if you've got a gut issue, it might prioritize that over your acne, right? It might say, well, that's not very important. So it might take a while for that to clear up. It also depends on, what's the underlying cause of your acne, because there's a lot of different things it could be. I think long-term raw food will help anyone clear up their acne, but I personally didn't have issues with that before. So no, I didn't get that issue when I went raw. I did not see an increase in pimples or acne whatsoever. I think it 100% depends on how your skin was before you started. So if you have acne, it's not going to go away overnight. It might get a little worse before it gets better, depending on what your body's prioritizing to heal first. And I think you'll have to just experiment and see how it goes. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry that I haven't experienced that myself. So maybe if someone else has in the comments, if you want to chime in, that would be really helpful. All right, and we have more people joining. So hey guys, I'm just answering the questions that were submitted in advance, but I also want to answer your questions live. So if you have any, go ahead and put them in the little box there. All right, this is a juicy one, so get ready. And and we're coming up on half an hour. So I'll answer this one, and then I'll see if you guys have more questions, and if not, we will call it a night. All right, so the last question I have is also from Instagram, and it's from Miss Lady 201, who I believe is Carrie. So hey, Carrie. Any tips on sticking to this would be appreciated. I'm scared I won't follow through again. Okay, that is such a good question, and I know exactly how you feel because the first few years I did this, as I mentioned, I started this to help myself be able to commit to it and to have support. So I know what you mean. The first few years for me, it was really hard to do 30 days of raw. And if you're new to this, it might be hard. And by hard, I mean, it's not hard to say, okay, I'm gonna have a green smoothie right now. That's very easy. And it takes about 5 minutes to make. It takes a few minutes to drink. The actual physical act of making and eating raw food is not hard, but mentally for us, it's hard. So it's kind of a mental game you have to play with yourself. So I would say I have 3 main tips for you. And I do have a video coming out on Tuesday about how to get started with raw and stick with it. So I think that will help you out even more. And I'm going to go into more detail. And hopefully some of the other videos I'm making this month, like the one about detoxing and cravings, will also help you out. So stay tuned for those. But my quick answer would be there are really 3 things you need to stick with this 30 days of raw. The first thing is you need a strong reason why. Why are you doing this? I would say my number one thing when anyone asks me, like, how do you do that? How do you go vegan? How do you go raw? How are you gluten-free? I think I have, knowing how I felt before, and if you guys have watched my health story, then you know how intensely ill I was. I was so sick, I was absolutely convinced that I was going to die. Like, there was no question that I could not go on as I was, and my health was completely falling apart. So that alone is such a strong motivator, which is why I think a lot of people in the raw food movement are coming from a background of health issues. So that when I look at, but I could be eating, an Impossible Burger or something, my mind goes, yeah, but do you want to feel that way again? So you have to have a really strong why. And if you're not sure what your why is, maybe think about that. Like, why are you doing this? And journal it to yourself until you understand like why this is important to you. So I think it will help you to clarify why you're trying raw food and what does it mean to you. The second thing I would say is create a plan. So I had someone else on Instagram who asked me, who of course now I can't remember who it was. I don't remember. I wish I had written it down. But someone else also asked, like, what are your biggest tips for making this work? Because I make other food for my husband and then I super want to eat it and it's really hard for me to stick with what I was going to do. And I think the answer is you've got to have a plan. So I do the same thing. Sometimes I'll make my husband something really delicious, maybe a vegan mac and cheese or something like that. And the trick that I told them and that I would recommend to you guys is try to make your meal first. So if you spend a lot of effort and time making something you know is delicious, that you know is not on your plan, and you don't have your meal yet, it feels like a mountain you have to climb to make that second thing for yourself. So make your food first. Prioritize yourself first, which is how we should be doing it anyway. And especially for women in this world, we tend to prioritize others first. So prioritize yourself, have a plan. I plan ahead, especially if I'm going somewhere. And throughout these 30 days, of course, now I kind of have where my grocery list is all raw stuff on a regular basis. But especially if you're new to this, plan out what is breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. What are my snacks? And have that stuff ready in advance if you can. If you're like me and you have a full-time job, maybe you're commuting every day. Luckily, I don't have to commute every day anymore. But sometimes I commute, sometimes I have work trips. If you're commuting every day, know what you're taking for lunch. Make it in advance. Maybe have something prepped for dinner, like a salad dressing that you love. So when you come home, all you do is pour it on the lettuce and the veggies and just enjoy and have your snacks ready. So prepare make stuff ahead and have a plan written out, because a lot of times when we eat things that we really didn't want to eat and we're trying to comfort ourselves, it's because we don't have anything with us and we didn't plan our next meal and we're out and about and we're stressed out. So we're just going to eat what we find or eat what other people are eating. So have a strong why and plan ahead as much as you can. And the third thing is have support. So if you're new to this, it might feel, really difficult at first. That's why I created this challenge. So we are all going to help each other and motivate each other and hold each other accountable. And if you're struggling, ask one of these lovely people in the chat to be your raw food buddy. Maybe you guys can DM each other and vent. I know some people have become really good friends from this challenge, and a lot of you I know from previous years' challenges. And I will be checking on everyone who uses the hashtag #RawFoodJune on Instagram and seeing how you guys are doing. So feel free to share on there and just, get some support. And if that's not enough for you, maybe get a raw food coach or try a raw food program or watch some raw food videos or read a book that motivates you to keep going. So that would be my top 3 tips for how to stick with it for these 30 days. Hopefully you guys found that really helpful. Are there any other questions that you want to ask? That is everything I had prepared for tonight. I'm going to have a little water because it is now only 77 degrees in here. It's getting cooler. I'm sorry if the AC is making noise. I really hope when I watch this back that it's not super loud. So the challenge actually starts tomorrow. Tomorrow is June 1st. I don't know about you guys, but May flew by. And I think it's because I had to travel for work, but I just feel like, whoa, oh my gosh, June is here so fast. But I'm really excited. So starting tomorrow on Instagram, I will be posting everything that I eat for the day, and I'm going to do that every single day on Instagram. I will have a single post. I'll tag it #RawFoodJune, and in that post at the bottom, you'll see everything I ate from my celery juice, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm going to post that every day. And starting on Tuesday, I have my first special video for Raw Food June, all about getting started raw. And I'm going to have a detox video, cravings, sprouting, dehydrated foods. I'm going to have a ton of awesome videos here on YouTube that are all themed for Raw Food June this month. Oh, good. We have another question. Hey, Erica. Hi. Welcome. We talked about all kinds of stuff, so maybe you can watch the beginning later. I will try to publish this. We'll see how that goes. This is my first time using this. So she says, I just joined, was wondering how long you've been following Medical Medium. I actually started in January of 2018. So if you watch my health story video, I was super, super sick, probably for a few years, but the worst year was 2017. And I kind of got to the point where I would try anything and no doctor could figure out why I was having all those symptoms and all the stuff that was happening to me. And on just a whim, I read Thyroid Healing by Medical Medium, and immediately everything clicked, and I implemented it from the first day of reading the book. So that, and my symptoms started clearing up within the first 30 days of me doing that. So within January of 2018, my symptoms started going away. So I would still say I'm doing Medical Medium, but I'm mostly raw, which some Medical Medium people are not. A lot of them are. It's kind of a mix, but yeah, so I've been doing it a year and a half. Ooh, Adriana has a question. I'm currently on a juice cleanse, but still going to be doing this to watch and see what people are doing. Oh, so not a question, but I'm glad you are. Ooh, a day 13 of a juice cleanse. That is impressive. I think the longest I've done on a juice cleanse is a week. I find that I do struggle with that because I like a lot more food, but juice cleanses can be really, really awesome. That's awesome. Good for you, girl. Cool. Do you guys have any other questions for me? That's kind of all I had tonight. TGIF. Thanks for hanging with me on a Friday. I was like, maybe I picked a terrible day and no one will show up because it's a Friday night. But I love, my process to end the week is to spend all Friday night making a video for you guys so that I feel ready to go for the weekend. So I just thought this was a good time. And it's the night before Raw Food June starts. So I was like, it's perfect. We'll make it work. And if anyone misses this, I know a few people said they can't be on this. So they will watch the replay. So I'm really hoping I can figure out how to post the replay. Oh, yay! Hi, Krishna. I hope I said that right. So you said, I just joined and wanted to know if you have any advice on weight loss. You will have to watch the beginning of this later because I did a whole spiel on weight loss. Let me answer this in two parts. So the first part I would say is if you want to lose weight, if that's something that you want to do, I would make sure that you're eating a high nutrient diet, so primarily fruits and vegetables. And those fruits and vegetables, which are the most high nutrient foods, happen to be the lowest calorie density foods. So you can eat a lot more food for less calories and still get the most nutrients. So if you're wanting to try Raw Food June, it should be pretty good for weight loss. The second part is I will give you a caveat, is that I try to warn people against quick fixes or only doing raw food because of weight loss, because that's not going to keep you going. And weight loss is a byproduct of health. It's not true health, right? Weight doesn't tell us how healthy a person is. Someone can be skinny looking and have a heart attack. And I try to not focus too much on the external and a lot more on the internal and how raw food makes me feel, how many of my symptoms go away, how much more energy I have. And as a bonus, I am losing weight on the side, but it takes, for real weight loss where it's not going to come back on and it's going to be maintainable, it takes a really long time. I did hear someone say it takes about as long as it took to gain it to get it back off. So if you've been slowly gaining weight over 2 years, don't expect it to come off in a month or two. It might take you 2 years. So I hope that doesn't discourage you. I hope that's a positive way of saying you can totally lose weight doing this, but maybe, you might get way more benefits out of it. And I would say that you don't have to focus on weight loss for this to be really, really beneficial and to still get where you want to go. So hopefully that helps you out. Yeah, high nutrient, low calorie density. That's why fruits and vegetables are awesome. And oh, thank you, Erica. It really has. And that's why I'm so excited to share with you guys and do this, outside of my normal day job, because it's also a creative outlet for me, but I just feel so much better. I wish I could share it with everyone. And I love this community here. You all are so, so awesome to me. It makes me want to keep going and keep making stuff. So I'm almost a year on YouTube and I'm going to keep going, hopefully for a very long time. And just because I love hanging with you all and sharing, and I know I still have a long way to go, so I'm interested to see in a few years when I look back at these videos from my first year, if I'm like, oh my God, I've changed so much. So I'm hoping to continuously change and transform. And yeah, it's really been impacted me greatly, and I can chat about it here with all of you who know what it's all about, and not with people who don't want to hear it. Right? A lot of our friends and family don't want to hear it yet, but hopefully they'll just watch us shine, watch our results, and maybe they'll eventually come on over. Any other questions, you guys? Thanks for coming tonight. This is so fun. I love this. I'm definitely going to do more of these if you guys like it. I think it's so much more fun when I can do like a live interaction and hear what you really want to talk about, because sometimes my videos, I'm guessing what you want to hear about. And also, I'm hoping, my goal this year was to get to 1,000 subscribers, so they turn on that little thing where I can post pictures and comments and updates to the YouTube channel stream, and then I can give you guys polls on what kind of content you want to see from me. Do you want more videos on recipes? Do you want more health videos? Do you want more what I eat in a day? Do you want to see a house tour or my budgeting system or my zero waste kitchen and zero waste bathroom. So I'm looking forward to when I hit that milestone so I can get some real-time feedback from you guys that way too. But maybe I'll make Q&As more of a regular thing. Thumbs up, awesome. Okay, well, if no one has any more questions, then I will call it a night. I just want to thank you guys again for coming. I absolutely love chatting with you tonight, and I will publish this so you can rewatch the beginning if you missed it and share it with your friends so they can check it out too. And stay tuned for all the awesome Raw Food June content that I have been making for months and waiting to share with you guys. I hope you're going to love it. So have a good night and have an awesome weekend. Bye, everyone. Oh, yes, on the budgeting video. Okay, cool. Bye, guys.